Okay, we've reached the end of the school year, and in Unit 8, we are talking about South America and Antarctica. Okay, South America, their geography and climate. Physical features include an isthmus that links Mid-America to South America, a mountain range at multiple mountain ranges, islands, archipelagos, valleys, plateaus, highlands, and escarpment. Definitions for those types of words. We know an isthmus, it's a narrow piece of land that links two larger areas of land together, usually with water on the sides. Escarpment means a series of steep cliffs that drop down the Atlantic coastal plain, and archipelagos are groups of islands. Bodies of water in that area include the Caribbean Sea, or what's called the West Indies, and this is divided into three areas. The Greater Antilles, which is Cuba, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, and Jamaica. The Lesser Antilles, which is the Virgin Islands and Trinidad, and the Bahamas. Also near South America is the Atlantic, which is on the eastern side, and the Pacific, which is on the west. Amazon River, the Parana, Paraguay, Uruguay, and Orinoco rivers are all in there. Lakes like the Maracaibo River, Lake Titicaca, and the Panama Canal. In South America, your resources are about 55% covered in trees, such as the Amazon rainforest. Minerals like bauxite, gold, tin, iron ore, manganese, and materials for steel are also there. Limited amounts of oil, natural gas, fuel, alcohol make for the sugar and gasoline idea, or gasohol. Okay, resources by country. You can see oil and natural gas happen a lot in Venezuela, Mexico, Bolivia, and Ecuador. Silver is in Peru and the Dominican Republic mainly. Iron is in Venezuela and Colombia. Copper is in Chile. Bauxite for aluminum is in Jamaica. Nickel is in Cuba. And for gold, you can see that in Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic, and Guatemala. Climate zones in South America include the tropics, which is Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. Direct sunlight areas for tropical wet areas, so they're very hot with lots of rain. Tropical dry, and then rainforests with humidity. Dry climate areas encourage grasslands and cacti as well as hardy shrubs to grow instead of having lots and lots of trees. Facts and history for South America. We always know about the ancient civilizations. So the Olmec from 1500 to 300 BC are the ones who grew crops like maize, squash, and beans, and they were the ones that founded and used the resources such as jade, obsidian, and the volcanic glass that we see nowadays. The Mayans come along after them, 300 to 900 AD, building huge stone temples, creating their own number system and calendar. They mysteriously disappeared in 900 AD, and we don't really know why to this day. The Toltec people took the Mayan land after 900 AD and built a city that is now called Mexico City. It's now their capital. The Aztec adopted the Toltec culture and controlled the trade system. They also conquered neighboring areas and built what's called Tenochtitlan on islands and made roads and bridges reaching the shore. The Inca were in that area as well, and they controlled most of South America through their large empire on the continent. Explorers who interacted with these native civilizations, such as Hernan Cortez and Pizarro, they were the ones who took over the cities and then spread European diseases, basically killing out most of the population because they weren't used to those diseases and were taking most of their gold. Okay, ethnic groups for Native Americans. A lot of the times you can see that nowadays they have like Native American, European, African, or Asian descendants. In the 1400s, many Europeans came over looking for the gold and trying to take over the land. That's why we have a whole bunch of those. Chinese descendants are mainly in Peru, Mexico, and Cuba. And there's actually about at least 1 million Japanese who have come to Brazil. Languages, mainly Spanish is the most common, but there's English, Portuguese, and French that are spoken as well. In smaller villages or tribes, we have their own version of languages called Pidgin language. So it might take a bit of English, but it might take a bit of Portuguese, kind of molting them together. Religions, currently Catholicism is the most prominent religion because many are descendant of Spanish, but they also practice Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Judaism. Recreation and celebrations. We have important family celebrations as well as days of the dead. And today's culture and practices, fathers are seen as like the main leaders in just about every family or every culture that they have in South America. They're seen as the dominant figure. Different country information. In Brazil, the largest population is around 212.6 million people. They have what's called a favelas, where the overcrowded area is a slum area in Brazilian cities. This is a leading producer of food crops and minerals. The biggest issue is the deforestation of the Amazon rainforest happening in Brazil. Argentina, another large country of South America, is the second largest country. 85% of their population has a European ancestry, and their economy mainly comes from farming and ranching, where they have cowhands called gauchos. Venezuela is in the Caribbean Sea, or near the Caribbean Sea, the leading producer of oil and natural gas. They have minerals like gold and diamonds, and chemicals to make steel, as well as crops like sugarcane and bananas. Famous figures include Hugo Chavez, as well as Fidel Castro, one of the big gang members from that time. Colombia is exposed to both the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea. They are the ones with the Andes Mountains on their western side, where 80% of its people live in valleys of the country. Natural resources include coal, oil, copper, coffee, rice, and cotton. This country has had political unrest since the 70s. This is where we talk about all those different gang members coming into play as well. In Chile, it is exposed to the southern Pacific Ocean. It's a slim ribbon country of around 2,652 miles long by only about 110 miles west. So that's less space from Pierce City to Kansas City. That's how skinny the country is. Chile is a strong economic growth since due to their minerals and farming opportunities. And in 2006, they had their very first woman president. Okay, when you look at your capitals, Argentina's capital is Buenos Aires. Bolivia is Sucre or La Paz. Brazil is Brasilia. Chile is Santiago. Colombia is Bogota. Ecuador is Quito. French Guiana is Cayenne. Guyana is Georgetown. Paraguay is Asuncion. Peru is Lima or Lima. And Suriname is Paramaribo. Uruguay is Montevideo. And Venezuela is Caracas. Okay, now looking at our other continent for this unit is Antarctica. It is believed that Antarctica is a broke-off piece of land from South America and Australia during the Gondwanaland times. It's a landmass that used to be there. Many physical features around the southern polar region include ice caps covering Antarctica over a mile deep into the ocean, as well as iceberg islands. Such islands are things like the Roosevelt Island, large bodies of water, obviously Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, and Pacific. Continental waters, ones called the Weddell Sea, McMurdo Sound, Amundsen Sea, Bald Coast, David Sea, and Ob Bay. Ice areas like the Rhone Ice Shelf, the Getz Ice Shelf, Shackleton Ice Shelf, and the Ross Ice Shelf are very easily seen on a map. They do have a slight mountain range called the Transantarctic Mountain Range, which divides the continent basically in half. On the east side, you have high plateaus, and on the west side, groups of islands linked by ice. The climate, obviously, if you're down south, it's an ice cap and a tundra, which is severe cold, even though they have direct rays of sunlight. In the summer, the warmest time of the year, their temperature still only gets about to -4 degrees, but can go all the way down to -31. In the winter, it's way more cold and can go down to -129 degrees Fahrenheit. Environment is where you have wind that can go up to 155 miles per hour. Very little precipitation. Majority of the land is covered in ice with very little rainfall, and the continent is seen basically as like a Antarctic desert. You don't get that much rain. If there's any sort of precipitation, it is by snow. Okay, wildlife though, you have penguins, seals, fish, whale, narwhal, birds, many things like that. Many of these are now protected from extinction because it's hard to find. Environmental challenges, we have, the constant issue of possible global warming and the rising sea levels. This is where you can also see an ozone depletion, which is observed by the scientists to coordinate with climatologists. Small plant and fish death, including krill, which is eaten by whales and large fishes, so that hurts the whales. And the ice caps actually move about 30 feet per year down there. So when you look at people in Antarctica, there's not very many. There are 0 cities in Antarctica, but it has 70 different stations for science. Not any cities, these are just different areas. It's kind of like having the International Space Station in Antarctica. These stations are controlled by 30 different countries, and the U.S. owns 3 of them. Countries involved, after signing a treaty, agreed that there are 45 countries agreeing to work together, even though they're controlled and owned by different ones. Government agent agreements, now under the Antarctic Treaty of 59, as of 61, agree that there should be no military establishment on the continent. In the stations owned by the United States, the three that they are owned, McMurdo Station, Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, and the Palmer Station, we can see that they have, in those 70 total, between 1,000 to 4,000 scientists per year that come down there. Tourism has increased to this area, but obviously there's not going to be a ton of people who want to come sit on the ice. History and facts. This was first spotted in 1820s by scientists and seal hunters, and the red and white striped pole is actually on the South Pole. It's a very short unit. Just make sure you have everything filled out. You can go back if you need to.